and the Yankees. That and much, much more on SportsCenter at 6. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. We just covered the GM survey, and the GMs around the NBA think that the Bucks are going to be the NBA champions. They're very confident in the Bucks. Well, guess who else is confident in the Bucks? A gentleman by the name of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Here's what he said about the upcoming season. He said, quote, "Just the habits that we built in these 5 games, meaning the preseason, I think defensively, the way we played, and we're really active as a team covering for one another, but going 5-0 doesn't mean nothing. As we move forward, it gets harder and harder, and hopefully in these 5 games, we build good habits that can carry over into the regular season." Jalen Rose, the Bucks are 5-0 in the preseason, as Giannis mentioned, and the GMs think that the Bucks are going to be champions. What do you think could hold this team back in the Eastern Conference?
Oh, I'll tell you, a glaring weakness in today's landscape of the NBA that may stop the Milwaukee Bucks from winning it all.
Ooh.
You tell me your top duos in the league this year.
Oh, I've got tons. My favorites, AD LeBron, we got PG and Kawhi, we got Westbrook and Harden, we've got KP and Luka, and we've got many more. There's obviously the Brooklyn one, which is going to be half of a duo, and others, but those are the main ones that come to mind.
And the reason why I bring that up is you didn't say the Bucks. And so while Chris Middleton was a first-time All-Star, and I like this game, and I appreciated him elevating it, I'm not sure if that duo, coupled with losing Brogdon, along with Bledsoe, once a playoff series starts, is going to be enough consistent perimeter firepower as well as shot making off the dribble. I like how Brook Lopez reinvented himself from a player that played primarily on the post to a center that now made 170 plus threes last year. Knockdown shooter. I like them adding his brothers, going to give him some defense and some more height along with Giannis. They're going to be formidable up front. But I just don't think they're going to be as stout as the Philadelphia 76ers, for example, in their own conference.
Like you mentioned, I really think the Bucks might have the best record in the league, but I would imagine in a 7-game series, I would pick the Sixers, and I would heavily favor the Sixers in a 7-game series. I think the Sixers come out of the East, and you were mentioning those duos, and I think one of the most under-talked about, underappreciated duos in the NBA are these 2 gentlemen from overseas. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. They were in some preseason action, and Kristaps reminded everybody why he is called the unicorn. He doesn't just do it on offense from inside and outside. He will play defense and rim protect with the best of them. That's 2 blocks in 1 possession right there. And then on the other end, you have this putback. Kristaps Porzingis gets so many putback dunks. And of course, Luka Doncic just running the show is going to be something to deal with. What do you think realistic expectations are for these Dallas Mavericks?
I think of all of the top duos in the league, this one right here is going to make more 3-pointers combined than any of the others.
Ooh, good point.
And the beauty of that is one of the guys is 6'7", the other guy is 7'3". And I told you, there are probably going to be 3 people in the league that average at least 20 and 2 blocks. Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis come to mind, and Porzingis is the 3rd one. So there has never been any question other than draft day, because he was just an unknown commodity, about his ability to be productive on the floor. He just dealt with some injury history. He had some issues with the Knicks. He wanted to be moved. He had an unfortunate situation happen to him overseas at a nightclub. But on the floor with Luka, I'm saying this is going to be like Steve Nash in his prime, but for Phoenix when he was winning MVPs, and Dirk in his MVP prime when he was with the Mavs, but they got both of these guys so very early in their careers.
So Luka Doncic last year kind of took the league by storm, especially early in the season. Trae Young sort of came on at the end and gave him a chase for Rookie of the Year. I wonder if Luka can continue that. I hope there's no sort of like Spider Mitchell style sophomore slump in the future for Luka. And he played really well last night against these Clippers. You know, he got a lot of assists and a lot of points, but he did have 9 turnovers. Do you think that Doncic could be plagued by turnovers this season?
Well, it's all about who you build around your young stars to allow them to flourish. And if you notice, you mentioned Spider Mitchell, that was a good example. What did they do? Brought in Mike Conley, so he doesn't have to only be the primary ball handler and creator. Brought in Bogdanovich, a guy that could get his own shot off the dribble and can shoot the three. For Luka, that's what the Mavs will now do. You see that those are going to be that's going to be your dynamic duo. So now you continue to build out the roster to guys that help support their strengths. And I think that Rick Carlisle and his coaching style is going to allow those guys to continue to flourish. They're going to be dynamic to watch. I do not expect Luka to take a step back in his development.
One thing about this duo that's worth pointing out, every other duo around the league, they're either at their peak or maybe a little bit beyond their peak in terms of their NBA career. These is the only sort of like superstar duo in the league that's still ascending, that still has a lot of room to get better. And I hope that this duo stays together in Dallas, because I believe at one point they will win a championship if they do. Jalen, we always talk about all the different Jalens in the sports landscape. It seems like the word Jalen, there's a Jalen on the field at any given time. But there's something being slept on. That's my namesake and my guy, Jacoby White. That's right. Kobe is short for Jacoby. Jacoby had 29 points yesterday, 6 threes, 6 rebounds. Look at Jacoby go. Jalen Rose, can young Jacoby develop into an NBA star?
Yes, I believe so. That's why you take a guy as high in the lottery as they took him. And if you just break down this game, there was also a play where I love we got out on the fast break and did a powerful slam dunk. You saw him shoot the three. He competes defensively. He's tall enough to guard either backcourt slot, and sometimes, depending on the small forward, he could get caught on them and hold his own. I love his game, loved it in college. I think he does have what it takes to be a terrific young player, but I'm disappointed in you in something. Your Die Easy fandom caught up with you on his topic. You know
What
why?
happened?
We just talked about Rookie of the Year candidates, and you didn't even mention his name.
Well, listen, let me tell you something else. I will never, ever, I will never stand for any Jacoby slander on this show, no matter which Jacoby it is. But I say this to Jacoby White just to try to help his game a little bit. You can't have 29 points, 6 boards, and 0 assists, young man. You gotta get 1 assist. You gotta get 1 assist somehow. Like, come on. You know you got the ball in your hands a lot if you score 29 points. You are a point guard in the NBA. You should have an assist. Come on, Jacoby. I love you, Jacoby. I'm just trying to get you better. That's all. Tough love from Jacoby to Jacoby. Moving on. Well, the gentleman that the GMs think will be the Rookie of the Year, Zion Williamson, there is some bad news. Adrian Wojnarowski let us know that Zion Williamson is going to be out for weeks. It's not a severe knee injury that he has, but he is going to miss some regular season time. Jalen Rose, how much of a concern is Zion's health for the Pelicans?
It has to be a major concern, and I talked a lot about this when he was in college. While he's a freak athlete, we have not seen that body type on any player. How about this for you? He's the second heaviest player in the entire NBA. Just think about that for a second. Boban is the only person that tips the scales more than Zion, and he's over 7 foot tall. Zion is 6'7".
I can't imagine. I know that they got to be close. Jokic has to be heavier than Zion. I can't imagine a world in which Jokic doesn't weigh more than Zion Williamson. It's got to be close. I need to see those numbers. I need to see this, because if you look at Jokic next to Zion and you tell me Zion weighs more, I don't think so. I'm not buying it. Jokic definitely he's got to. Jokic is listed at 249. You're trying to tell me that Zion Williamson is around 280, weighs 30 more pounds than my man Jokic?
Either way, the point still stands at 6'7", 285 pounds. But explosiveness, like a Sean Kemp, who I compare him to, who was 6'10". And so that geometry has never been done. And if you look at the times he's gotten hurt, exploded a gym shoe in college. So very explosive, doing a spin move, comes out of the shoe. Barack Obama was on the baseline like, wow. Summer League, wasn't able to perform due to injury. And now, knee soreness. When you jump the way he jumps, and I keep telling everybody this, Dominique Wilkins had a 50-inch vertical, but you never saw him jump off of one leg. Nate Robinson won 3 slam dunk contests, jumping off 2 feet. That's my guy. Love Nate. Zion jumps off 2 feet. He jumps off his left leg and jumps off his right leg. Michael Jordan jumped off 2 feet, but then he jumped off his left leg from the free throw line. You ain't see him jumping off his right leg, going to the hole, dunking on nobody with his left hand. Zion doing both. So the injury issue is a major concern for a young, talented prospect.
Well, the NBA world is rooting for you to get back on the court as soon as possible, Zion Williamson. Jalen, Juwan Howard was named the coach of the Michigan basketball men's program, and it is already paying dividends. We'll explain right after this.